back. In this video, we are going to see an important concept in Java called interfaces. So we are going to see what is an interface, and we are going to see how we can make use of interface in our program, and even we are going to see how this interface is different from abstract classes. So let us start with interface. So interface is something like no, which is going to give you a blueprint of a class, or which is going to give you a skeleton. So which has got static and final variables and abstract methods. Or we can say that which is going to give you a mechanism by which we can implement or we can achieve abstractions. We have seen what is an abstraction in the previous units, previous videos. So abstraction is mechanism by which actual implementation is hidden from the user. The user will be knowing how to operate, how to use it, but actually how this is implemented is hidden from the user. So this is also used to create multiple inheritance. We know that Java does not support multiple inheritance through classes, but through interface we can have multiple inheritance. And the last point about this is now if you take the interface fields, they are public, static, and final by default. If you don't specify, they are going to be public, static, and final. And all the methods are public and abstract. So you know what is an abstract method? So these are the methods which does not contain any body, any implementation. So let us see a small example which will give you better idea. And before we see the examples, let us see what are the different places where we can use interface. So normally there are two uses for this. One is as we have seen, we can use this to achieve the abstraction. We have seen what is an abstraction, and interfaces can be used for this. And second one is which support a functionality called multiple inheritance, where a class cannot provide. Java does not support using a class, but through interface we can have multiple inheritance. That means a class can inherit properties from multiple classes. So let us see how class and interface differs. If you take two classes, let us say class A and class B. So let me say this is class A and this is class B. So where class B extends class A, that means class B is a subclass or a child class of class A. Whereas interface, so if you take interface and class, the class has to implement the interface. So this is a class. Let us say this is a class A, and let us say this is a interface B. The class A has to implement the interface. Obviously, the interface has got certain methods. Those methods you have to or you need to implement in class A. When it comes to two interfaces, one interface can extend another interface, something like class. One interface can extend another interface, whereas an interface and class has to implement the interface. So let us see a small example where we have taken a no abstract class called bike, and this is there is a method called run, and this is what class Honda extends bike. So bike is an abstract class. This is not an interface. Please remember it. So first we are starting with an abstract class which is going to implement uh, an abstract class called bike. So there is a run method. So this implementation is done inside the class. Class extends another class, and the other class is an abstract class. So here is the main method where we have created an object of the class called Honda. We cannot create an object of the abstract class. Please do remember it. So we are creating an object of the class Honda, and using this object we are going to invoke the method called run. And please remember, the method run is an abstract method. That means the abstract method does not have any body. So let us see a small example for interface. What you are seeing is only no abstract class. Now let us see an example for interface where you can find an interface called printable. The interface name is printable, and it has got a single method without any body. So which we can say that this is an abstract method. Now look at a class called pgm1, so which is going to implement the interface called printable. What does it mean? Now it's the duty of class pgm1 to implement the methods in the interface called printable. What is a method in the interface? Which is print. So this print method is going to be implemented in the class called pgm1, where we use this method to print a message called hello. We used to print a message. Now let us see the main class where we have got the main method. This is known as the main class. Why? Because it has got the main method. And look at the way we create objects. We are creating the object of class pgm1. We are not creating object for the interface. We are not creating the object for the interface. We are creating an object of the class called pgm1, new pgm1, and using this we are going to invoke the method called print. So print method is implemented in the class called pgm1, and this is used to print the message. So when I run this program, I'll be getting the output as hello. Here the printable interface has only one method. Its implementation is provided by a class called pgm1. Let us see another example where you can find interface. So take it as interface drawable, and which is going to have a single method called draw. There is another user. Let us say the first no interface is done by the first user, and what the second user is going to do, he is going to implement this method called draw, and he is going to use this method to draw a rectangle. So he has named it as a rectangle, which is going to implement drawable, and he is going to implement what this draw method is going to do it. So he is going to use this to draw a rectangle, and he has taken another class called circle, and inside the circle what he does, he is using this draw method again to draw a circle. So this is done by the second user. What the first user is doing, the first user has used this interface, or he has created the interface, or interface declaration is done by the first user. Second user is going to implement the interface. Now let us see the third user. So third user has taken a class called test interface one, where we have got the main method. For this main method, using this main method, he has created object, or instead the main method he has created the object. So he is creating an object of the class called drawable. Drawable is the interface, sorry, not the class. This is an interface. D, we cannot create an object of the interface, so we have to make use of new operator with the class name, not with the interface name. So we are going to create an object of the class called circle, and the object name is D, and D dot draw. So this is going to invoke the method in the class circle, and which is going to invoke the method called draw. That means we have used the interface called drawable, and we have used the method called draw. And if you look at this statement, we have used no this interface to draw a circle. So finally we'll be getting the output as draw a circle. If you want to print or draw a rectangle, you have to create an object of the class called rectangle, where you are going to implement this to draw a rectangle, right?